Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another whiskey review. And today, I'm quite excited to talk about this particular whiskey. This is probably the most surprising whiskey that I've come across all year. Right now, it is in my top 5. I adore this pour, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. All right. And to do this review justice, I am going all in David and Kira 2024. Not to get into the politics here. And I'm also going to be using Trev, the Bourbon Wrench, Glenn, tag team partner, got to represent them. They picked something absolutely gorgeous, and I felt the need to talk about it here. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more of the commentary around this because I still think these type of things go under the radar or underrated. And there is a comparison of this bottle that I did for something that is 5 times its price. And this bottle came out in the head-to-head. That's how much I love this thing. So what we are going to be talking about today is a Bull Run. This is 16 years old, finished in Pinot Noir casks. And it also has these sexy people on the sticker. Cheers, David, Kira, and Trev. Now I get to rave about this thing for the next couple minutes. So with the light whiskeys, this is light whiskey coming out of MGP, and mainly 2 companies I follow when it comes to light whiskey, and it's Bull Run and it's Obtainium. Now, there are other brands that dabble in the light whiskeys, being Penelope, or one of the more popular ones, I would say, or one of the more sought after ones, is Old Carter American whiskey. That's light whiskey, or some type of blend that involves light whiskey. But I have been waiting for these older casks to go away. Rumors were probably 2 to 3 years ago that eventually these 14, 15, 16-year barrels of light whiskey would disappear from the market. And there is a tendency in this whiskey hobby for the rumors to take quite a while to catch up to reality. So as an example, Knob Creek used to have 13, 14, 15-year picks. I used to get them regularly back in 2018, 2019, but the rumors were that they would dry up. But then they just kept showing up. And they kept showing up, and months went by, and a year went by, and they never dried out. And then out of nowhere, boom, it was done. You don't see those picks anymore. They're almost all 9 years. Occasionally, I've seen a 10-year one, but they're pretty much all 9 years. The older stock doesn't go to the barrel pick program anymore. All those rumors prove to be true. So when I keep hearing this about the light whiskey, I have thus been buying anything that is 14, 15, 16 years old, and just putting it in my basement because I do love light whiskeys, particularly at this age. Now, this one is extra special. Let me pull up the stats on this thing. But first off, and insanely so, this cost $47 plus tax and shipping. But the price of the bottle itself, $47. Right now, it's over. You can get it. I think you have to be part of the Patreon for Nerds and Turds for this, but they have a link. They have buy some whiskey. So look up thewhiskeychannel.com. You'll find the website. Maybe it's on there, or maybe it's Patreon only, but here I am, talking about it. The proof on this thing is 119, and the age, as stated before, is 16 years. Now, the price on this thing, $47. I mean, we're about to go through the tasting notes on this, but straight up front, I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. I am not just here supporting friends type of a situation. I have now purchased 5 of these. Some of them are for gifts. Only 3 of them are for me, but I adore this bottle. This is absolutely ridiculous. And you're going to hear me gush about it here over the next couple minutes if you're interested. So let's go through the tasting notes here. We'll go through the nose, the palate, into the finish, and then we'll get into the final scores. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining so far. So the nose on this, gorgeous nose. The thing that sticks out to me is that 16 years. It almost comes across to me as a musty old forest smell, waking up with the dew on a summer morning. It's got that type of oak to it. And then from there, it's just berries for days. I mean, raspberries, berry leaning, little bit of grape, all those type of things clearly coming from the beautiful finish on this, because you typically don't get those type of notes in a light whiskey. And then there is immense sweetness that can come through. Mainly, I would point to more of carnival foods, cotton candy being one of them. With the nose on this one, teetered a little bit on whether to give this one thumb or two thumbs. Ultimately went with one thumb on the nose. I think it's actually hard for light whiskeys to shine. They usually just don't have that much complexity, and they can't really go over the top and grip you like some bourbons or ryes can or other whiskeys can. It's kind of held back on the category, but this one is beautiful, mainly backed by that Pinot Noir finishing. All right, now we get to taste this thing. Cheers, everybody. Gosh darn. Immediately, thing that sticks out is how oily and coating this thing is. I mean, it's a fun one to just sit on your tongue and play with it a little bit. Coats everywhere, gives flavor on all parts of the tongue, sides of the tongue. The fruits, once again, emerge immediately. Packs of flavor. You get all of this dark to bright fruits, everything from berries to even that like darker grape and wine notes. There's even like this layer of pepper that's on there that hits the tip of my tongue. Love that spice balancing out the immense sweetness. And then the sweetness itself from the light whiskey is kind of like a fruit punch pop rocks kind of a thing. You don't get the poppy sensation, but that type of concentrated flavor, maybe even like a pixie stick if you go into something like that. All right. Then as you get into mid palate, oh my gosh, everything just escalates and just overwhelms. The flavor note that came to me, just pulling everything together. I mean, you got that raspberry. It comes across as a raspberry jam. I get a little bit of a sweetness, almost like a cookie. There's a Girl Scout cookie that is round and has this dollop of raspberry cream, raspberry jam right in the middle of it. That is what shot in my head when I was doing the notes, and I'm still getting that now. Like now that I have that flavor note in my head, I can't get rid of it. So that's what's so beautiful about this one. The fruits just balance so well with the sweetness of the light whiskey. So when it came to the palate, oh my gosh, 2 thumbs up for me. Absolutely gorgeous. Makes me smile every time. All right, another sip and let's get to the finish. Essentially the same flavors all the way through. They escalate even further. And they really latch on to the finish. I'm getting nothing but raspberry jam and the sweetness right now. Escalates, 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 makes my mouth salivate, makes me want to take another sip, which is dangerous because it's 119 proof. But it just tastes so good. It's just gorgeous and it's so balanced. The other thing that I really enjoy as you get deeper into the finish, like I am right now, that oak starts like oozing through. So the raspberry kind of died down at this point, and then just that, it's not like musty, but like what I was going back earlier with that summer dew type of an oak comes through, balances with that sweetness too. Gosh darn. One of the best light whiskeys I have had in quite a while. Really, really enjoy this pour. And once again, $47, absolutely crazy. So let's get into there's a nice spice at the end as well. Getting it both on the back of my throat and the tip of my tongue. So it's got everything that you could possibly want from it, from the sweetness, the fruit, a little bit of that oak, spiciness, even though it's a light whiskey, it must be just getting that from the char of one of the barrels. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous single barrel. So finish, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up on the finish. So we've got lots of thumbs flying around this review so far. So in the end, flavor score gave it an 85 out of 100. The nose is one of the things that maybe I pulled back a little bit on compared to some of the other metrics, but it's getting all 8s and 9s on the flavors. And then for the experience score, because it's so oily, that held up the experience score, but light whiskey can only be so complex. So it kind of balanced out there, but it does have that nice long finish too, because of how dang oily it is. And then the value, take all of them, take all the points, 100 out of 100. So final score in the end, 87 out of 100. That ranks it in a tie amongst some bottles, 4th out of 34 reviews so far this year. So, man, that's pretty locked in. I mean, that's probably got a top 10 appearance by the end of the year. That's how much I love this thing, and that's why I wanted to talk about it here. And then all-time rank, 31 out of 186. So an upper tier pour on my bar. So love, love, love when you find something this special, this valuable, all those things, and it just comes and it just surprises you and overwhelms you. When that happens to me, I got to talk about them. And then I got to wear this hat. This hat, by the way, I totally won shaking ping pong balls off that was strapped to my back, and I had to like bounce my butt around, and that's why Kieran David gave me this hat. So that concludes the review here of this Blue Run. Once again, keep an eye out. Even if you're not getting this one, the other thing I just want you to keep in mind, I mean, if you're seeing these on the shelf, don't take them for granted. They could disappear. They're very good value. And, oh gosh, parting thought on this, but I did compare this thing to Old Carter American Batch 9, and I preferred many of the aspects of this over that one, and that one's like 5 times the price. And I was perfectly happy with that bottle beforehand too. So crazy, crazy value on some of these light whiskeys. Keep an eye out for brands like Bull Run and Obtainium that are keeping everything so affordable. Well, thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. If you've gotten to try this, let me know what you think of it in the comments, and maybe this inspires you to go find some light whiskey single barrels yourself. All right, till the next review, we'll catch you. Goodbye, whiskey friends.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey